call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Matheos Camilo takes on Gabe Green this Saturday at UFC Fight Night, Vegas 106. And this should be an interesting fight. Camilo making his UFC debut and Gabe Green making his return to the UFC after about a 2-year layoff. Matheos Camilo, he came in off of Dana White's Looking for a Fight. I think the most recent episode just dropped, but he had a fight on Korean Zombies promotion back in December against Dorabshak Nabatov, who was the guy that made a name for himself during the press conference, kind of calling a shot with Dana White, and Dana White gave him a shot against this dude, and it didn't go well for him. Nabatov, primarily a grappler, had decent stand-up, but was just getting chewed up by the legs by Matheos Camilo, who just, nasty calf kicks. Dropped him twice, I think, with kicks in the second round, was just all around beating him up, and was dropping his previous opponent, Jonaski Soho, was hurting him really bad with leg kicks, beating that dude up for 3 rounds. Should have got the finish, but didn't, but had an overall really good performance in that fight. So I've got a lot of hype behind this guy. He's on I think a 6-fight winning streak, and taking on Gabe Green, who, been kind of 50-50 in the UFC, so we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a decent test for a guy like Camilo, who is young. He's 24 years old, so I'm excited to see this fight. I think Camilo's got a lot of potential. So, like I said, he's a very good striker, all-around very good guy, very well-rounded, really good stand-up, a 1-1-2 down the pipe, cracks his opponents with rips to the body, so mixes up his shots very well. Will shoot takedowns, go for ground and pound, was timing a lot of really good shots in between combinations. He'd have a guy hurt on the feet, and at times maybe he should have went for it, but was shooting takedowns, getting guys to the ground and just battering them. In that fight with Nabatov, he did have some issues with the wrestling. He'd get taken down, but had really good jiu-jitsu off his back, was threatening with arm bars, triangles, but a lot of times he was getting back up or staying safe, threatening off his back, and didn't really take a lot of damage, so he's able to kind of mitigate the takedowns, get back up to the feet, and just kind of beat this dude up. From what I've seen, he's only a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, which is surprising considering how well he looked against a strong wrestler on top of him, but he's just all around a very solid fighter, very well-rounded for only 24 years old, and his only 2 losses came by sub. I don't really see him get hurt on the feet a lot, so I think this guy's got a lot of potential. Taking on Gabe Green, who's 32 years old. He's 5'10" with a 73-inch reach and 11-5 in his career, so they're going to be roughly the same frame. Camilo's, he's listed at 5'9". I can't find his reach anywhere. But Gabe Green been in the UFC since 2020. Lost to Daniel Rodriguez, beat Phil Rowe, beat Johan Lanessi, and then recently lost to Ian Gary and Brian Battle back in May of 2023. So coming off of a KO loss to Brian Battle, and 2 years off. He's also dropping from 170 pounds to 155 pounds. And considering the fact that Camilo is super impressive, has tons of momentum, and he's fought 4 times in that time span, that Gabe Green's been kind of sitting out in the middle of his prime, 30 to 32. Don't know why these guys do that, but I'm going to go with Camilo. I think he's just the better fighter. Gabe Green, he's a southpaw striker. He's bouncy on the feet, moves very well in and out of the pocket, does a really good job of kind of interrupting the rhythm of his opponents as they're coming in, disrupt their power shots, just give them something to think about while they're trying to initiate combinations. Had decent head movement in his last fight, but prior to that, I've seen him kind of have a stationary head, can be hit, was getting hit a lot by Johan Lanessi, and obviously Brian Battle put him out in 14 seconds in their fight, but was dropped on his face in the second round against Johan Lanessi, kind of taking a lot of damage in that fight before Lanessi kind of gassed out, and he got the TKO in that one. And the Brian Battle fight, he just kind of ran across the octagon, started throwing punches, not really moving his head, and got slept. He's just kind of one of those guys who moves in recklessly at times, gets caught doing so. Can be wild, kind of wings his punches, whereas Camilo throws a lot straighter. I think he's a little bit more technical, has a little bit more power. And he's moving down to 155 pounds. 2-fight losing streak. Got knocked out in his last fight in 14 seconds. Been off for 2 years, cutting down to a weight class, 15 pounds lighter. Taking on a young up-and-comer who's really good everywhere. Just don't think that it's a very good recipe for Gabe Green, who has been too 50-50 in his career. He's won 2, lost 3. Camilo is just, he's more reliable as of late. And I feel like he's got a really good chin. Gabe Green, not so much. He's shown that he can be hurt, and we've seen Camilo hurting dudes. So I'm going to go with Camilo. I think he can get Gabe Green out of there, who has been knocked out, I think, 3 times in his career. Yeah, been knocked out 3 times. He does have some decent wins. Phil Rowe, you know, I respect a Phil Rowe win. Subbed Chris Padilla back in the day, Leon Shabazian. Like, those aren't bad, but just I feel like the deck's kind of stacked against this guy. And I think Camilo is just going to be a little bit better than him everywhere. And going to have no ring rust or anything like that. He's going to have a lot of pressure on him, you know, coming in with the hype off of his last fight. But I think he gets this one done. I think he can, you know, get Gabe Green out of there by KO. Thanks.